哥帮你阿公。来了来了，饭来了。
The remnants of Typhoon Maysak have left behind one of southern China's most destructive flood disasters of 2026. After making landfall over Hainan and northern Vietnam, the weakened storm moved inland and stalled over Guangxi, where it combined with the southwest monsoon to unleash days of relentless rainfall. Rivers overflowed, reservoirs failed, entire neighbourhoods disappeared beneath floodwater, and tens of thousands of people were forced to flee their homes. The hardest hit areas included Guigang and parts of the Nanning prefecture, particularly Hengzhou, where floodwaters rose with astonishing speed. Between July 6th and July 7th, the situation escalated into a major emergency, as widespread urban flooding, reservoir breaches, and rapidly rising rivers overwhelmed communities across the region. One of the most dramatic examples came from the Guigang River in Guigang. The river's official warning level is 41.2 metres, yet by the evening of July 7th it had climbed to approximately 46.88 metres, more than 5.5 metres above the warning threshold. Roads became rivers, vehicles disappeared beneath muddy water, and construction sites were transformed into fast-moving lakes. Videos shared online showed floodwater cascading through city streets with incredible force, illustrating just how quickly conditions deteriorated. Authorities responded by raising Guigang's flood emergency to the highest Level 1 status on the morning of July 7th. Rescue teams worked around the clock as residents became trapped inside homes, apartment buildings, and on rooftops. Boats, drones, and emergency crews searched flooded neighbourhoods, while engineering teams monitored weakened embankments and reservoir systems. The disaster was made even worse by failures at several reservoirs in Hengzhou. Days of exceptional rainfall filled the reservoirs beyond their limits, leading to breaches that released powerful torrents downstream. Brown floodwaters rushed through villages with little warning, sweeping away vehicles, damaging homes, and cutting off roads. Local officials described the losses of life and property as severe. Current official reports indicate that at least 6 people have been killed and 11 remain missing in Guangxi as rescue operations continue. Authorities caution that these figures remain preliminary, and casualty numbers may change as search teams reach isolated communities and identification efforts continue. Across China, the broader impacts of Maysak's remnants, including deadly tornadoes in Hubei province, have pushed the national death toll even higher. The human impact extends far beyond the official statistics. Nearly 130,000 residents were evacuated across the affected areas, with thousands finding temporary shelter in emergency relocation centres. In Guigang alone, 18 temporary relocation sites were established to house displaced families, while relief supplies including food, drinking water, and daily necessities were distributed. Among the most heartbreaking stories to emerge from the flooding came from Guigang Zoo. As floodwaters surged into the facility before dawn on July 7th, staff members faced an impossible decision. They secured dangerous animals, including lions, inside their enclosures to prevent possible escapes into surrounding communities. While this protected nearby residents, several large animals, including lions, bears, and wolves, were unable to escape the rapidly rising water and drowned. More than 100 animals are believed to have been lost. 5 zoo employees became trapped on top of a shipping container as the floodwaters continued rising around them. After being rescued by emergency personnel, one worker said that if help had arrived just 20 minutes later, they likely would not have survived. Their account has become one of the defining human stories of this disaster, highlighting the difficult choices faced by those caught in rapidly changing conditions. The flooding also exposed unexpected secondary dangers. In Hengzhou, floodwaters reportedly destroyed a snake farm, releasing hundreds of snakes into nearby areas. Local reports indicate that one woman later died following a venomous snake bite after flood-damaged roads delayed emergency medical treatment. Officials continue monitoring health and environmental risks as floodwaters gradually recede. Meteorologists say the disaster developed because the remnants of Typhoon Maysak interacted with an active southwest monsoon, drawing enormous amounts of tropical moisture inland. The slow-moving weather system repeatedly produced intense rain over the same locations, while Guangxi's hilly terrain and river valleys accelerated runoff into already swollen waterways. Saturated ground left little capacity to absorb additional rainfall, increasing both river flooding and dangerous urban waterlogging. Chinese authorities launched a massive emergency response involving more than 8,000 rescuers, over 1,700 emergency vehicles, and thousands of rescue boats, working alongside volunteer organizations. President Xi Jinping ordered officials to make every effort to rescue those trapped, care for the injured, and ensure displaced residents received shelter and essential supplies. As of July 9th, floodwaters have begun receding in many parts of Guangxi, allowing recovery operations to move forward. However, the danger has not completely passed. Saturated hillsides continue to pose risks of landslides and mudflows, while engineers assess damaged reservoirs, bridges, roads, and public infrastructure. Officials are also warning that additional rainfall could complicate recovery efforts in the coming days.